All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to demystify a concept that is absolutely changing how businesses run their operations, the clean core strategy. Now, if you've ever felt like your main technology is holding you back instead of, pushing you forward, then you're going to want to stick around. It sounds super technical, I know, but at its heart, it's really about one thing, making your business ready for whatever comes next. So let's dive in. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get a handle on the problems so many companies are wrestling with. Then we'll introduce this idea of the clean core as the solution. We'll see it in action with a real-world example, break down the 5 key pillars that make it work, and wrap up with why this whole thing makes a company truly ready for the future. Okay, so let's set the stage. A lot of businesses out there are running on these big core systems, ERPs, that were probably state-of-the-art once upon a time. But now they're starting to show their age. It's kind of like living in a house where the foundation is starting to get some serious cracks. And that really brings us to the big question, the one you've got to ask yourself about your own company. Is your core system a true partner, one that's helping you adapt and grow? Or has it become a roadblock, the very thing that's stopping you from innovating? And these are the classic symptoms of what people call a dirty core. We're talking about a system that's bloated with years of custom code, causing constant slowdowns. The maintenance costs are through the roof. Different departments can't talk to each other because their data is siloed. It's not just an IT pain in the neck. It's a massive barrier to doing anything new. So what's the answer to this mess? Well, it's a strategy that SAP calls the clean core. The best way to think about it is like this. You're swapping out a clunky, old, heavily modified car engine for a pristine, high-performance one that's actually built for today's world. So what does clean core actually mean? Well, at its heart, it's an ERP system that you keep as standard as possible. That means it's always up to date. Any add-ons or extensions you build are cloud compliant, which is just a fancy way of saying they won't break every time the main system gets an update. And on top of that, your data is high quality and your processes are super streamlined. It's all about simplicity and power working together. And you can really see the difference here, side by side. On the left, you've got the old way, buried in custom code and something called technical debt, which, is basically a mortgage you have to keep paying for bad tech choices made years ago. But on the right, the clean core approach actually welcomes innovation and lowers your total cost of ownership over time. It's a fundamental shift in thinking. Okay, theory's great and all, but what does this look like in the real world? Let's walk through a story of a company, we'll just call them ABC Manufacturing, and see how they went from being totally stuck in gridlock to actually enabling real sustainable growth. So before this big change, ABC Manufacturing was really struggling. Their systems were all over the place, which meant data was trapped in silos. People were stuck doing things manually, which was slow and full of errors. And maybe worst of all, the leaders were basically flying blind, making big decisions without any real-time info. Their IT team, they were just trying to keep the lights on. And then, look at this. This is the after state, and it's a game changer. Once they moved to a clean core, their maintenance costs just plummeted. System performance shot through the roof, which made everyone's life easier. But here's the most important part. Look at the innovation capacity. Their IT team was finally freed up to work on projects that actually drive the business forward. So the big question is, how do you get there? Well, the clean core strategy isn't just a vague idea. It's built on a really practical framework of 5 pillars. Think of this next part as the actual blueprint for building that solid new foundation for your business. Here they are, the 5 dimensions you have to get right. Your business processes, your data, any system extensions you build, the integrations with all your other software, and finally, your day-to-day operations. The secret sauce really is keeping each one of these areas clean. So let's break down what that means for each one, starting with processes. First up, Pillar 1, processes. And the guiding philosophy here is simple but so powerful. You stay competitive by reducing complexity, not by adding more of it. This is all about fighting against that, but we've always done it this way mentality that can just paralyze a company. So what does that actually look like in practice? It means adopting standard ways of doing things that are proven to work. It means being ruthless about cutting out steps that don't add value. And it means having strong rules in place to keep things simple and streamlined for the long haul. Now, you can have the cleanest processes in the world, but they're useless without pillar number 2, clean data. The goal here is non-negotiable for any business today. You have to be able to trust your data, right? Because if you can't trust your data, you can't trust your decisions. Simple as that. Clean data means it's accurate, it's complete, and it's consistent across the board. It also means you're smart about how much data you're holding onto and that you're following all the privacy rules. Good data is the fuel that makes the whole engine run. Okay, pillar 3 is about extensions. And honestly, this is a huge one. This is where most systems get bogged down and become a mess. Over customization is the #1 cause of a dirty core. So the principle here is to keep your extensions clean and, this is key, separate from the core. The whole point here is that extensions should help your business, not tangle up your core system in knots. You always ask, can we just use a standard feature instead? And if you absolutely have to build something new, you use modern public APIs, which are just stable, standardized ways for software to talk to each other. This is what makes future upgrades smooth and easy, instead of a giant, risky headache. Pillar 4 is all about integrations, because let's face it, no company runs on just one system anymore. You've got dozens of tools. The goal here is to make sure all those different pieces of software can talk to each other reliably, creating a technology landscape that's both stable and flexible enough to change when your business needs it to. And that means you stop using old, brittle ways of connecting things and you fully embrace modern, standard APIs. Using a dedicated integration platform is a game changer here because it helps you manage, monitor, and secure all the data that's flowing between all your different systems. And that brings us to our 5th and final pillar, operations. This is all about the day-to-day work of maintaining that clean state you've worked so hard to achieve. A clean core isn't a one-and-done project. It's an ongoing commitment to running things the right way. Clean operations really means that this whole idea becomes a mindset. It gets baked into everything the IT team does. From managing software updates to automating routine cleanup tasks, it's all about shifting the view of IT from being a cost center to being a strategic service that adds incredible value to the business. So, we've gone through the problem, the solution, and the 5 pillars that make it happen. But let's bring it all home. Why does all of this matter so much right here, right now? Well, it's about one thing: becoming future ready. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? A clean core is not just about having a healthier IT system. It's a strategic move for the entire business. It gives you the agility you need to react to, well, anything. Supply chain problems, new customer demands, crazy new technologies. It makes you competitive, period. And so I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Your ERP, your core system, that is the digital foundation of your entire company. So the question you really need to ask is this: is that foundation you're standing on built for tomorrow, or is it still stuck in yesterday?